Um, Hello. So, what we're going to be diving into straight up is how to go through this time of uncertainty. I think this is a question many of us have, and I know whatever industry you are in, if you're in the lifestyle brand industry, whether you work online, offline, so let's just define this first. Many of you think that just offline means one on one. Think about all the gyms, all the spas, chiropractor, massage, anybody who is touch, hand touch. Many of you are working one-on-one in a virtual space. That means you are using the online space to work with your clients. Many of you have been struggling for a very long time, depending on your IG profile, a group where you have no engagement, and many other different strategies, like hoping that a blog is just going to have people land there, or that people are going to just find you organically. That is not how it happens. So we're going to develop a strategy and give you a series of videos that are going to take you step by step. I want to just dive into 3 problems first. Problem 1 is many of you have plans right now that have worked for you, but are not going to work in the current industry or times where there is recession or the economy changes or there's uncertainty. And this is going to require you to pivot. And many of you have not been up against that because you have followed a roadmap or a blueprint that, again, has worked, but it's not working anymore. Number 2, this is also the time of massive clarity. And it's not just the perfect pitch or the perfect message. This is the time where you have to be willing to get very raw and real about what you want to say to the world, what you want to teach, who you teach for, the very core pillars of your business and your signature process. This is not the time where you say things like, I work with women who are struggling with sugar addiction, and I help them to develop a strategy that gets them off yo-yo dieting. This is the time to instead get really specific in what was your story, what led you to become a coach, why do you do what you do, and start building what we call the trust customer lifecycle process. It's not your freebie, it's not your program, it's not your offer, it's not any of these things we keep focusing on. We have to go back to what I call this old school OG style approach and focus back on our process. Why do we do this? Why did you become a coach? I think we have forgotten this in the funnel world. And let me just say before I go to problem 3, funnels work when you are your funnel. That means if your freebie isn't working, guess what? You aren't clear on why you do this. You're not sharing why your ideal client needs to download that freebie, because that freebie or the course or the podcast or the group is the solution to their problem. So I want to roll it back, because problem 3 is I see many people following strategies that work for business owners. Yes, we are heart-based business owners who have developed a brand awareness. This is not for the person who has been struggling and praying that somebody is going to just land on your Twitter, land on your Instagram, land on a blog, land on all of these things. This is a time to pull it back to the days when I built my business. 10 years ago, MailChimp and Constant Contact were the only game pretty much in town for the business owner, the solo entrepreneur who was starting. Back in the day, guess what? We didn't have schedulers. There were some, but guess what? Most of us didn't know what they were because they weren't available in all of these different resource banks or business coaches or courses or all this stuff that we have. We didn't focus on the platforms. We didn't say, is it Kajabi, or is it Teachable, or is it this, or is it that? We just did it. And I'm going to define that soon. We didn't focus on even the email marketing in their CRM because, again, it was so basic back then. We didn't have all these choices. These choices are taking you away from doing the hard work. And I'm not saying that you aren't working. The hard work is sitting there and continuing to show up and testing your message. Because if they're not engaging in your group, you haven't nailed it. You haven't understood your client's love language. You haven't tested enough to understand how they say their pain. You haven't gotten enough people on the phone because you're hoping for the pipe dream that somebody told you, that you can build an online business if you just do these 3 steps. You can make $150 if you just go to this school and come out. We all have that, what I call dream. We all thought it would be easy. We all thought that if we just attended this marketing academy, we would come out and we would know what to do. We all thought that if we just did this Facebook ad training, it would completely work. So we spent the $10, $15 a day. And guess what? All of those strategies work when you know who you serve, what problems you solve, and who your ideal client is at different stages. So without us getting into everything and without us getting into how to fix your business in 1 step, it's not that. I'm going to bring you back to how I built my business, because what I see are coaches who are frustrated, tired. You're no different in this time of what we call crisis. This is COVID, but it's really not. It's, guess what? How do you build a business without losing your shit? How do you build a business that's sustainable, where the overhead isn't going to kill you? How do you build a business where you're not drowning in, oh my God, how do I do all these platforms? How do I handle all this? Because the truth is, in the testing phase, you don't know where your people are hanging out. Marketing is making an assumption. Marketing is making an assumption of where your people are. So when we put all our eggs in one basket, we make an assumption that all our people are there. And then guess what? We hear crickets. We don't get conversions. We don't even get people to personal message us or DM us because what? We are not clear. So stay with me for 1 second while I share a process. And for those of you who are listening to this, maybe on my podcast or anywhere else in the world, because this is so freaking important and vital, this image will be right in front of you. I shared this image. You see, I've got a lot of windows open. I shared this image today in my membership because this is essential. Right now, we are in a place, it's called, yes, you need to keep your business going. But how do we do that? And everyone's worrying and everyone's freaking out, trying to say, okay, get them locked into a 6 month. Get them locked in now. Create a video series. Get them locked in. Does that feel right? No. Didn't feel right when I created Rachel's Wellness. Doesn't feel right now because I don't want to lock anyone in to ever having to work with me if it's not right. That never felt right from in the beginning, which is why I abandoned the 6 month model 6 months into my business. Right now is the time where you create the same strategy that has worked for me always, the same strategy that comes from the heart. Still with strategy, because you are a heart-based entrepreneur. You do have to put your heart and feel your client. That is the empathy. That is what Ryan Dice says. The digital marketer listens, they feel, they have empathy, and they create solutions for their ideal client. For their ideal client at the stage where they are right now in their 24 hours. They meet them. The digital marketer of today pivots with ease because they can see, they can feel their ideal client right in front of their right in front of their eyes. They can close their eyes and they get chills because they can see these different personalities. Yes, you have your ideal client, but you also have, think of it right now, you may work with that woman who has a sugar addiction. One person you work with may be a 9 to 5er, and she's at home right now, and she is still doing the work she has to do for her company. She may be a secretary. What does she need to hear from you at this time? Because she also has her children in school right now. She's got 2 little ones, and they're 13 and 11. So they are able to more self-modulate their day. Then you have a woman who is still a 9 to 5er, but she is a high-end salesperson at this same company. Let's even make this simple. They're all at the same company. She's got a lot of different decisions on her plate. She has been in the think tank for the last month, 2 months, even 3, as they watched this in January. They're watching the stats. They were saying, oh my God, how are we going to pivot? What is this going to look like for our company? She has a lot of different stresses than the woman who's the 9 to 5 and the secretary. Doesn't mean that they don't have the same problems, but they have to hear something different from you. Their buyer personality is different. The same person in that company is a woman who works at the company. She is an essential part. She has not lost her job, but her husband just did. And so she is binge eating at night. She has a baby. It's 10 months old. And she is stricken with fear. She doesn't even know what she's going to do. Even me talking about it right now brings me tears, because our job, our damn mission, not our passion, is to step into the shoes of people. Stop overthinking your funnel. Your funnel is you. Your funnel only works if it is a reflection of the steps, your communication, your vision for the messages that you're speaking to these people. We're not even going to get into funnels on this, because I want to bring you back to the OG steps. Old school. We are going Eminem style, Run DMC, Beastie Boys, all the things that I always say. We are taking it back to the basics. So in those just 3 different people, imagine if you played out the scenario of 100 people at that same company. Still with the women who struggle with sugar, binge eating, overwhelm. Maybe one has anxiety. Maybe it's gut. Maybe their sugar is related to hormones. Maybe their sugar is related to a weight problem that came from when they were really little. Maybe their sugar addiction is related to a more physical gut issue. Define what you believe. This is not the time to sit and go, well, it could be this, it could be that. Well, it could be 80,000 things. But this is a time for you to stand up, define what you want to be known for, and don't sit back and say, well, it could be a host of things. But that person is coming to you because you say, hey, when I was experiencing this, this is what was happening. I was talking to a friend the other day who's a 9 to 5er, and she's so stressed. She's at home. She's, a secretary for this company. She feels so overwhelmed. And she was talking about how throughout the whole day, she's been like stress eating. Let me dive into this. Let's talk about a solution. I was talking to this woman the other day. She's a high-powered CEO. And she was saying how in the last 3 months, she's been triple working. And she feels guilty that she's not there with her kids because they're at home. And so she's, just been shoving her face when they go to bed, because she is that A-type personality. And God forbid anybody sees her weak. I was talking to my friend. That's how we engage. It's not the group. It's not the freebie. It's not the podcast. It's not the series. It's not the funnel, the program, the course. It's what you say that then brings them into your ecosystem, your life. They identify with you. And then They check to see if you consistently show up like this. When you don't consistently show up and you've got, oh, all these different messages and that make no sense because they don't tell a story. And let me just say what that looks like. Many of you are like me. You're a jack of many trades because you either experience those in your life, like for me, food allergies, asthma, gut issues, an ulcer, Clostridia, pylori, all these different things, anxiety, overwhelm, sugar addiction. And sometimes we don't know where to start because we feel like we are a jack of many trades. But what I did when I was struggling in year 2, and I committed to hire a coach that kicked my butt because I did think I was clear. I talked about emotional eating and gut, but I couldn't say clearly what I did. So I was all over the place. But the one thing that I always did right is I shared what happened in my life, what it looked like, and a solution. I always knew that if I said, what did I wish my mother would have been told when I had an ulcer at 14? What did I wish would have been said to me when my kids were struggling with food allergies and heavy metals? What did I wish was available? What did I wish would be available for the world? That's a vision. That is our why. That is the beginning of the funnel. And if you're not clear on that, but you're clear in your heart, but you haven't put words to it because you've been futzing around with perfection and trying to find the perfect words and you've hired everyone, guess what? The solution is in you. You have to pull that out. You have to get over the fear of, oh my God, I can't do video. No, actually you can. Got to get over the fear of, I'm editing the content that I bought from you, Rachel, but it's not perfect. I can't brand it. Well, are they buying the covers or are they buying you? The content is just to save you time. You are always the funnel. You are always the magic. You are always the message. So when we start dropping multiple messages of all these different, I serve these people, I serve this person, that's because you're doing that because you're jumping niches because you don't understand your why. You're not clear on who you serve and the process that you had to take to get better. And you're expecting people to go from step 1 to step 5. You're speaking about only the step 5. Oh yeah, well, the mindset of getting over emotional eating. But your ideal client is only at phase 1, step 1. They're scared. They're all the things that I just told you in that person addicted to sugar. They can't even get out of it because they're in the thick of it. So if you're speaking at this step 5 level message, but you're not even speaking to people in their day-to-day, their 24 hours where they're getting hijacked, where they're up against these roadblocks. They are this 9 to 5, and you're like talking about meal prep and find your soul and breathe and meditate and do all these things. Yes, those are essential, but guess what? She's like, wait, you want me to breathe and meditate? I can't even find time to poop. I can't even find time to pee. I can't even find time to cry alone. So like, sister, help me out. I'm looking straight at you for a solution. So that's why I want you in today's episode, today's talk, to take it back a step, to go back to what is your original message and what are you not saying? Because at the end of the day, and I'm just going to go back to some what I call hard love, because you have to be at the front line right now. You have to be sharing your story because somebody is struggling. And that was what was told to me by my first coach. And my second coach whipped my butt because she would say, you're not clear. And I was like, but I help people to detox their body so they feel better. I help people to detox their body so they have less food allergies. And she was like, no, I get that you're saying each of these parts of your process, but you don't know how to just say it because you haven't let go and you're not trusting yourself. And so I started defining my process because I realized not only did I need a process to get better, the people that I hired, the many people in my getting better, emotionally, physically, spiritually, metaphysically, gave me a step-by-step process. Even the ones that were so esoteric, I still had a process. So I said, you know what? It's time for me to get clear. It's time for me to put my fears, and I did have them. So don't think if somebody says that they don't, that is complete BS crap. That's fluff. It's crap. Everyone had fear. Everyone was scared. Everyone had no list. My coach, Nisha Moodley, Coach Holly Thompson, these are names that are at the top of the IN names. We all had nothing. We started with nothing. And so right now you're comparing yourselves to people at chapter 12 when you're at chapter 1. And maybe you want to be at chapter 12 and maybe you think you're at chapter 4 because you're like, I built my funnel. I'm showing up. But guess what? If you're not converting and getting personal messages and DMs, because I'm bringing you back OG style, I talk about people like JJ at Fearful to Fit. I talk about Jessica Royston. I talk about Sarah Lawrence, who had no website. All these people that built their business with no freaking automation like myself. But what we did is we continually showed up with this clear message. We invited people to come into our ecosystem. We invited people because we shared about what we stood for. And so I want you to think, this is actually my niche course. Many of you have taken this. Many of you have done this and you're like, I'm still confused. Here is what the niche course says. So I'm just going to break this down. For those of you who are listening to this audio, this is what it says. Here's how. Online. Create a post on Facebook saying that you're launching your new business. Maybe you're brand new. Maybe you just want to say, hey guys, I am really going to serve you right now. Say this in your post. And so it's not my new business. It's time for us to reset. It's time for us to come together. And so I'm simplifying how to work with me. Or I want to really pay it forward right now. These are all the strategies we've been talking about in my membership. Like, how do you do a 2-for-1? How do you show your morals and your values in what you do? Because you can still make money. And when we say we can't make money and we can't go on, that is a money mindset issue. So if you're there, break that cycle. Just that's it. I listened to the people who I first bought when I started my business because I wanted to learn from them. And that was Uriel Khan. I bought everything because he had these low costs and he gave such value. And I fell in love with who he was, his family, what he talked about, what he said, how he brought me into his life. About everything from him. And he helped me in buying that from him at these low costs to understand that I could do the same. So it wasn't a course. It wasn't anything that I learned. It was that I built my business on low cost offers because the people that I bought from did that. So how do you do this now at step 1? How do you nourish and build for a month so that you can do low cost offers at any time, 365 days of the year? You can have consistent money, but you also are what? Consistently serving people. So I'm giving away one free program to 5 to 10 amazing people who want to end yo-yo dying, quit sugar, have tons more energy. In exchange, I ask you for a 30-minute interview testimonial. That's for the brand new coach. That is for the person who doesn't know who they serve. You could even say right now, in another, to flip it a little, say, guys, you know what? I'm opening up a group. I know that I've dealt with a myriad of issues from autoimmune, sugar, overeating, stress, gut issues. I really get it. I serve people who want to end this goddamn madness. I struggled not knowing what the heck was going on with me. I felt off. I felt tired. I felt this. I felt that. List it. List what you felt. Stop looking for the perfect post. Stop looking for all that perfection and start meeting people where they are and telling them what it was like. If it's not your own story, that's where you are so crystal clear on what you want to say to people. And you bring them into a group that is designated solely for the purpose of you building out this roadmap for them. You're going to build out a roadmap for a month. You're going to nourish them. You're going to make this group and you're going to use the unit sections, whether you do this in Facebook, whether you do this via email, you're going to start nourishing. You can even do this on your personal page. There are so many ways to, without us getting into, again, this full on strategy, because today is just taking you back to the place, the old school approach. It's the same thing as you create one epic giveaway. You're saying, hey guys, I'm paying it forward, because everyone that I see right now in that Rise Up Challenge, for those of you who are listening to this later, it was 30 of the best coming together and paying it forward. You have to stop looking for the solution. Guess what? You're in the solution right now. Why not just say, I can do this, and have the balls to do it? So you create this giveaway. You say, you know what, over the next 30 days, guys, I'm bringing in some guest experts. I'm going to give you this roadmap, but we're also going to just have a place to just share and inspire and really talk about how stressful this time is. You're going to take that one epic giveaway. If you choose to either do this, if you have a following already, great. You can go and blast this right away. Take any of the content you have bought from us or that you are buying or anything or that you have, and you either make this in a group, and at the same time, I highly encourage you to make this epic giveaway, because right now we are all digital. I had 3 summit giveaways because summits were everything back then. Now we see more podcasts. It's the same thing. Right now, how can you might say, but Rach, I have no list. So I'm depending on this organic flow for people to find me on my Instagram, for people to find me maybe on an IG story, for people to find me on a blog. I get it. No, I know. You have been sold strategies that work when you have a really clear brand, a really clear message. But these strategies right now where it's really busy, and also even in the last few years, are not working as well. And that's why I always say, if you go back to every video that I've ever said, it's reach out to the people who know, like, and trust you already. So here's the blueprint right now. I talked about many different ideas, but now I'm going to just go nitty gritty on what to do. Yes, if you have a following, great. Do that Facebook group. If you are able to do that Facebook group, because see right here on either pitch yourself to a podcast, create that one epic giveaway, pitch yourself to a podcast, reach out to 3 possible JV relationships. Guess who those relationships are? It's the 5 people who you know, like, and trust. It's the same process you should have started your business with. It's how I built my business, because I reached out to the people that were already in my ecosystem, my friends. I put myself in one group, not 80, not 100, one group. And I let people get to know me. I didn't shove a sign up for this, come to this. And I also didn't have automation. Every thank you page said, hey, hit reply or text me, here's my number. I made it really easy for people to get in contact with me. I love automation. Automation is freaking awesome because it's a beautiful conversation, and it also lessens the back and forth that you have to do manually. But I will tell you this, those that have depended on this automation forever, but don't have a really clear system and brand, or are selling these high ticket offers right now, they're going to struggle. And that's why even Christine Hansen, please go to my podcast. Christine Hansen moved her model to very high ticket one-on-one. Guess what she just did, like a smart person, last week? Because the intuitive business owner goes, okay, Would this be ideal for my clients right now? Probably not. Yeah, she made epic money. Very few clients, and she clocked 25,000. Right now, that model doesn't work. So how do we change it without pushing what doesn't work on people? Like I said, business coaches are right now saying, get them in, lock them in for 6 months. Does that feel right now? To me, never felt right. It may work at different times, and it works also when people need that. And your brand is so clear that, of course, they trust you to give you the 5,000 for the month. It makes sense to them because they know their life is going to change. When times of uncertainty come, it's not that you aren't valuable. It's not that you aren't worth that. It's that uncertainty dictates how people spend their money. So she was like, okay, going to buy the Candida program, break it up, give it to my people, because she specializes in sleep. And you might say, but Candida, because she connects everything to sleep, everything, gut, hormones, Candida, anything, because she is known for sleep. So when you're known for something really so goddamn clear, the offerings and the freebies, they all make sense because you constantly bring them back. Okay, I know. Maybe you said reach, but you were going to bring us to the solution, but you just went on a rant. Welcome to How I Speak. I'm trying to bring you from small picture to understanding how to create a sustainable and profitable business. It's not just this one magic solution. It ain't in the world for the health, and it doesn't exist in business either. The one magical cure never worked. The one magical protocol for pylori never worked for me. Why would it work in business? So now, and take a deep breath so I drill back down. One epic giveaway. That means that you have like 3 awesome over-delivering bonuses, because building that trust, you want somebody to say, wow, in these 3 bonuses that really served me right now, this person is amazing. I've been searching for something like this. I can't believe this person solved every problem. I'm going to opt in. It could be 3 bonuses. It could be 1, whatever it is that you envision. It could be a training series. As your outcome says, I am all about training series because it teaches and it pre-qualifies and it helps people to understand in value. Plus, you can give a little freebie or checklist or an action step, because that little teaching series becomes also evergreen. That becomes a summit offer, an evergreen, so you don't have to constantly repeat and create no. Instead, you have something that really works if you duplicate. Take a look at what I do. Have you seen anything change from the last 2 years? Nope. I duplicate the same process, because once I saw this from Todd Herman years ago, and then I started studying James Wedmore, Amy Porterfield, Uriel Kime, Ryan Dice, Russell Brunson, not other coaches. I look at just leaders in all business industries. They teach so that they help people understand, because it's that teaching that trust is built. That one unbelievable teaching series you pitch to a podcast, because all of a sudden you're pitching something tangible. You take 3 hours in the next week to record videos. You let go of perfection. Loom.com. You can do a screen flow. It works on Chrome. Loom.com. You can create those videos. If you're scared to be on video yourself, either just take a deep breath and put on your big girl panties or big boy boxers, or just say, you know what? I'm not going to do it right now. I'm going to give myself a little compassion pass, but push yourself to do that, because that is what will either define and separate you from the rest, or you'll just be playing on the sidelines. You can play in the Super Bowl and you can say, I am scared to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. In the same way, you ask your clients to what? Make change. You can't sit there on the sideline and not do the things that you're scared, but ask your clients to make massive changes, you got to walk the walk and talk the talk. Start comparing what you do in your subconscious to what you're asking. You're like, hey, I don't know why my client didn't. I see this all in our forums, paid forum that we have, membership, free forums. My client didn't follow this. Well, why? It's just fear. That's the only thing that stops us. Fear, or it's just too hard to make all those changes at once. So we go baby step. So start asking yourself the same questions. Why am I not doing this? What's holding me back? Why am I sitting in this one BS roadmap that never worked with me? So I'm holding on to this pipe dream. That's all it is. So you're going to create a teaching series. This has worked for everyone. It is proven. It worked for me even when I didn't have a place to even deliver them. I put it on a document that said, watch here are your bonus videos. I had an 8 steps to restore your gut health, the same one that I sell at yourhealthcoachbiz.com. But I put videos there and people replied. They were like, oh, thanks so much for showing me cultured foods and probiotics and lemon water and castor oil pack and all the things that you added as bonuses. I just added my life to it. That's how I built trust. Don't overthink it. It's a dime a dozen. People are selling the same shit left and right. What separates you is you showing them how easy this is. That's where they're stuck. Information is everywhere. What they want from you is show me how to actually do this. Show me how to implement this. Listen to where I'm stuck. Don't just feeding me more. If you're not making money, you have just failed to listen. Because I had many different funnels based on all those different personalities and all these different issues. They all still came back to gut and detox. But I learned, because I listened, that not everyone was ready for detox. I listened to their problems and I met them where they are instead of where I wanted them to be. And if somebody wasn't doing something, I would say, hey, why didn't you do this? So if you've run a challenge and nobody converted, shame on you that you didn't ask, hey, what was tough about this? Because that feedback, just like the podcast from Jenna Sword that I did with her, which is as valuable, no joke, as $100 course. You didn't listen. You didn't ask, hey, why was this hard? And then you didn't pivot. See, pivoting happens every day, 24/7 in your business. And the biggest mistake we do is we continue. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over. So now let's unscrew our insanity. Let's get into the mindset and what we often are not taught. You got to pivot every day. You got to ask, and listen. Don't keep shoving what you wanted to do, your dream business, what you thought, or what you were sold into. It's time to come back to the basics because that never worked anyway. You have to create your intuitive funnel, and that will change and that will pivot. And you might cry over that, have a good cry, because sometimes what we think when we're going to build a business or we come out of school, whatever accolades, whatever certificate, if you're a functional medicine practitioner or a doctor or a nurse, chiropractor, I have everyone buying content. Sometimes this epic vision of what we had gets squashed. Some of you just graduated and you're like, oh my goodness, it's okay. It's okay. It really is okay. I had a vision of what my business was going to be like. It changed. I changed my niche. But the great thing is that just like Hillary Weiss said on my podcast, brand, brand, brand. And thank God she taught me that brand always trumps niche. Because those of you struggling right now don't have a clear why and a brand vision and a system and a process. And we will be diving into that in a series that will be coming. So you're going to go back to the basics, that teaching series. Then you have something tangible to pitch to your podcast. Pitch to anybody. Pitch to the gym. Pitch to the people who know, like, and trust you, who, guess what, are struggling in the same ways. Get out of your own pain. Have a good cry, be the change, reach out to people. The health food store you went to, the massage therapist, any people, the gym, they're all struggling. And guess what? Those who are not struggling, they pivoted right away. A gym I used to work for, one of the 4 gyms, she pivoted right away. I was like, I saw her on Facebook. I said, damn, girl, you did it. She brought her HIIT training online right away. She started just bringing in these guest experts because she is a single mom and she depends solely on her gym. We're all in that place. You're no different. Stop sitting in victimhood. Take that, have a good cry, get the support, and make the change. She made the change. How many people have you seen your gym, your whatever, make that change? What if you took the chance, you dropped the fear and took the chance to say, hey, I can help you, I can serve you, and it would be a win-win for both of us. I have these programs that I can serve you. This will also enhance for you because I specialize in 1, 2, 3. I know I struggled with ABC. I know many of people right now have these 1 through 10 issues. Let's change the game together. It's a very simple conversation. So you're going to reach out to people. You're going to, instead of just hoping that people land because they're scrolling in their 24 hours, didn't work in the last few years. Why are we continuing? It's a new decade. It's time to roll it back. These relationships, these people already know you. And if they don't, guess what? My first clients were my friends. They were people I went to high school with, people on my swim team. I never had any idea that they would be clients. But I took a chance to start showing up and testing what people wanted. And I started just sharing, and people would personal message me and say, oh, I'm so happy you talked about this the other day because I thought that I was the only one. Can I hire you? And I would be like, I don't talk about weight loss. Why? And she said, but you keep talking about like this gut issue. I've had these issues forever. I've had these skin issues. I've had acne. I just have covered it up. And I made connection 1. Oh, okay. So people are making this connection. Boom. These books, I always say the same thing. I've said it from the day one. If you go back to my YouTube channel and you see from day one when I was sicker than sick, building this business, let go of imposter syndrome, because no, I was still struggling with my health issues. So give yourself a pass. If I can do it, you can do it. There's not a Harvard switch. I still to this day, if someone talks to me, because I was taught this in commercial real estate, listen. You got to listen to people. You have to take notes. Those notes become your content. Don't struggle in content. If you're struggling in content, you don't know your ideal client. It's that simple. So you're going to take notes. You're going to start taking notes. What are people saying to you? What are people saying in your comments? Under Facebook, that's your content. That's what you should be talking about. So that's what I mean. Let go of the dream. Let go of the pipe dream. It's okay. We're going to now focus on what you actually have to do, not things like, oh my God, don't want to be a weight loss coach. Well, weight loss is a big thing, not because of the system, the machine, or the industry. It affects people. It does. It affects people emotionally. It affects their relationship. I had clients who came to me for gut and skin, but we realized their weight was stopping them they wouldn't go out with their friends anymore. Like, just stop thinking that you are creating this perfect thing and really listen to people, because coaching is that. It's not just the perfect plan, and business isn't either. So when you have something tangible, you're going to feel the confidence. That's actually why I believe in programs. It's not to fix anything. I didn't have the confidence. I didn't have the confidence to approach people. I didn't have the confidence to build out my signature process. I knew it, but I was repeating the same thing. Right now, I have a feeling that's where you are. Is that if you haven't married your program and done it and owned it and taken pictures, well, why would anyone hire you? Because they don't know what that looks like. You're just a dime a dozen saying the same thing. So I created those programs and those offers because it was tangible. Coaching is intangibles. It's like in the NFL when they talk about Tom Brady. It's the intangibles. Nobody. And yes, I am an Eagles fan. Yes, guys, I would never be a sellout, but I also look for the best. I also look at the intangibles. Tom Brady, the intangibles. Mahomes, the intangibles. Like the MVP of, Kansas City, the intangibles. Nobody would have ever thought. These are assumptions that when you go to draft stats, that's stats. The intangibles are the things that you never see. Most of you have not tapped into intangibles because you don't believe in yourself. And guess what? That's a huge thing of coaching. It's the balls to continue to show up and to say what you want to say. It's dropping the fear and it's letting go of this perfect template. It really is. When you have the tangibles, it makes it much easier to show up with, hey, this is what coaching is going to look like with me. Why don't we talk and see what you really need? What has gotten you stuck before? What do you feel is like killing you in your daily life? Because I'm here to help you. I've been in your shoes. And you start having these beautiful conversations. No, that's not on a discovery checklist template. That's not a script. It's not any of that. And I can't tell you how many years I've witnessed and watched people come out of any school. Oh, I have this script. How's it working for you? Do you close? Oh, but I have this whole online program that my school gave me, and I'm reading from it. How's that working for you? How's it working for you? That's the only question you need to keep asking yourself. If it doesn't work, it's broken. Be willing to let go of what does not serve you. And I would say the breaking point, and thank goodness, because I feel that every crisis brings the silver lining. And I sat through the pain in this last month. It wasn't a financial pain. So I want to honor those of you who are in that, because I get that. I built my business in the recession. I was $60K in debt. $60K. I didn't go back to real estate. I didn't go, even though Marcus and Millichap, I'm gonna just take this off share for a second. That Marcus and Millichap, I had guys from the Fort Lauderdale office, because we were a national business, saying, Rach, so we heard that, you moved to Florida. So I know you still have your list, hint, hint. And I was known as, excuse the French, but the buyer's bitch in my office in Philly, because they would be like, how do you just, a listing would come on and I would have, no joke, 5 people bidding. And they would say, how do you always do it? Of course, I worked in an office with like 80 guys, and there was me and my business partner was the other female. And say, guys, because you just don't listen. You think stats. You don't think about your client. And I know what my clients want. Like, I don't try to shove stuff. So when I know what my clients want, they put an offer because they trust me. So I tell you that because many of you are in a huge, you're up against the wall right now. And you only see like you only see the testimonials. You only see the case study testimonials. That's what we see. That is what we put on our site. But you don't see what it takes. You don't see the behind the scenes of the fear and the frustration and the hair falling out and the hours that I spent crying over MailChimp. So I couldn't figure it out. So I didn't do it. I didn't waste time there because I didn't have the time. Our other business had crashed and burned, flew up in smoke. And luckily we had paid off our home. We just thought that would be a great investment. And that's what we had. So we sold our home. We moved to Florida. And those savings went away pretty fast between all the bills, everything. And I was up against the wall like you are. And truthfully, you've been up against the wall every day. You just haven't been forced. And that's what I think are beautiful about crisis and being pushed to persevere, being pushed to tap into the deepest parts of ourselves that we never even knew we had. The parts that if you've ever birthed a child, it was that moment. That moment, and that's why I didn't have any drugs or anything with both my kids. It's that moment where it's so raw that it's you and yourself. It's that moment if you've done a marathon or an ultra marathon. It's that moment where it's just you. It's your why. It's your will. It's what you stand for. It's who you are. It's that moment that you've persevered, and it's that and just like when I talk about bombing my SATs, bombing school was hard. My dyslexia, it was really hard. And I talk about that because that perseverance, and even though everyone told me, you're just really pretty and you're a great athlete, but it's going to be a struggle for you. So I listened to that and I evolved those other parts. But there was something that clicked because I just thought I was stupid. There was something that clicked when I said, I'm going to do this. And I was 25. And it's not that I didn't always show up with intensity in my life, but I showed up in the areas where I thought I could only. And then I said, no, I am smart. I'm smart in my own way. And I owned it. And that perseverance, that struggle is what defines us. That struggle is what brought you here. Most of you didn't come into this business because you thought goji berries were awesome. Or that some of you, I would say some of you, some of you, maybe that is. And you just really were passionate about, that part. But I'd say for 80% of you, something happened in your life. Something imprinted your life that made you and that drove you to this profession. Many of you are healthcare providers, nurses, in the ambulances. I mean, I've listened to so many of your stories, and funny thing is, I don't see any of that on your social media. I've listened to your heart-based stories where you just let it flow, but I don't see that because that takes such a deep commitment to be vulnerable. And I'm not saying that I'm not saying that I'm the one you need to be like, but you need to find what that looks like for you, not anyone else. And that takes perseverance. That takes not quitting and giving up. And that's the part that, because we've come in this automation nation and the bot and the funnel, the best people, the ones who are making it, they reply to their Facebook messages. They reply to their DMs. It's them. It's not even their team. And those who get dirty, the Gary V's, the people I look up to, the people who I can say names, as I've said a bunch here, they get dirty in the areas where they need to. And they let go of the perfection, like the covers and all that other stuff, because they know that they have to spend more time showing up and messaging and finding where it works. So you're up against the wall. You've been up against the wall. You've been frustrated. Why quit now? As Eric Thomas says, you're already in pain. Why quit and be even in more pain? Why not have faith? Have faith in yourself. Trust that you are the leader in the industry. Stop comparing yourself to people at the top. Stay in your own lane, put on the blinders, and win the goddamn race. Come to the Super Bowl. Just come to the Super Bowl every day, all night, intentionally. Don't put out more noise. Don't add to the noise. Go to my podcast and listen to Amanda Genther. We did a podcast about this last week. And I said to her, this low-cost funnel offer that everyone's talking about, this is how you do business. You build trust, and then you lead them to a low commitment. Because you haven't built trust fully, and they say what? They know you. They're like, you know what? I really need you. I don't even see this offer on your site. Do you have it? Can I work with you for a year? Can I work with you for 6 years? For 6 months? Actually, I have had some people who worked with me that long, but it wasn't just them. It was their family. Their family was in my customer life cycle. They would say, okay, it was great working with you. Can you work with my husband? Can you work with my kid? Can you prep to go off to college because he has food allergies? Oh my God, can you work with my mom? She right now is struggling with some of the things you had, ulcerative colitis. It was a organic flow. And that's what we've abandoned. So your signature teaching series is a window into what you are. Your freebies are a window into your process and what you stand for and what you teach. And if they're not, they're just noise. So that's why we're going to get drilled down this month. Your job is to create that freebie series, that course, whatever it is in your eyes that works for your people, your ideal client. Guess what? If your people aren't online, don't do it online. Don't waste the time. Don't waste the time. I'm going to put in here some success stories that you hear from different people that have completely different businesses, because all of us fell for this idea that it would be really easy. And all of us are being taught all these different models, and it really gets confusing. So then we deviate from our why and our purpose, and we try something else. And then we waste 6 hours. 6 hours that could be spent creating some videos, Loom, Zoom, your phone, endless. And a consistent flow so that we actually teach people what we're all about, so that we share about the message, so that we really take the teachings of Ryan Deiss and the leaders in the industry who talk about messaging, Donald Miller, and many of those, James Wedmore, Amy Porterfield, the list goes on. Because when you create trust, it doesn't matter where you're leading them to, because people will ask you, like they asked Cece Weiss, Cece, this was so amazing. We just did this 21-day cleaning program. What's next? She had no idea that one 5-day clean eating plan, which she didn't want to do online because she said, that's not my personality. I don't want to be online every minute. It exhausts me. So she created that as an evergreen freebie. But what she did right is she always showed up on her personal page. And she did use her personal page to create trust, the like, know, and trust factor. She didn't need people anywhere. She created that. She created that organically so that when she did have an offer, guess what? Everyone was ready because she built that like, know, and trust. So if you're doing it organically on your personal page, that's the blueprint. If you're in a group and you're following that group blueprint, follow that blueprint. If you're like, and you have nothing and nothing has worked, reach out to people. You're going to create that teaching course and you're going to say and paint it forward, because that is what needs to happen right now. Whether it's a challenge, but you really have to think about what makes most sense right now. Is everyone online right now? Are your people online? Are you getting engagement? Are you seeing that people want to be online, or do they want it more at designated times that really worked for people? And I say that because maybe what has worked for you in your business is failing right now because your ideal client has children, and so they can't be online in the same way. That's what I mean about pivoting. Really sitting and saying, screw all the strategy, screw everything. Let me think about my people, and let me ask my people. Let me reach out and send an email like Amanda Genther said. How can I serve you guys right now? What's really going on? Hit reply. I want to get on the phone. I'm doing coffee chats. I'm doing green juice chats. Or, hey, let's do a family Zoom. You are my family. Then we start to strategically plan your low-cost offer, which is a no-brainer. I'm telling you, it's a no-brainer. But I will close with this because we all like numbers. When you build trust, saying to people, hey, it just feels right. I have all these people, my friends, my family, who are struggling with the following. And I've sat with my heart and my soul, and I know that it's time to pay it forward. This means that for $50, this is after you've built trust, or maybe you're in a place where you can do the low cost now because you have a following. So remember, have a following, don't have a following. Don't have a following, you're going to reach out to you're going to reach out to people You're going to get on podcasts. You're going to build your like, know, and trust factor with tangibles and the intangibles. You take a step back. If you have a following already, or maybe you have a following on your personal page, but you just thought that it wasn't this easy. It is this easy. Don't sell. Facebook doesn't like that anyway. And I don't like when they're selling or like, here's the link on my personal page. I just think it's not what I want to come to Facebook for. And that's why a lot of people leave Facebook. They leave because they just feel oversold at times. So, and they also leave and unfollow your page, or they snooze you for 30 days because they're just like, give me a break. I'm so tired. Like, you're selling to me. Selling is from the soul. When you go with your heart and you start saying, what would my ideal client really need right now? That's not selling. You're meeting them where they need, because selling is just an exchange of money for something that they do really need. And again, that's a money mindset thing. And I had to do that work. There are many money mindset books. I encourage you to do that. And also to ask yourself, why do you feel that way? What about your own epigenetics, old stories is making you feel that way? So now let's close with a calculator. The most important thing in a whiteboard and a notebook: Google Drive, Dropbox, free tools, Trello, free stuff you can use. Eventbrite, just using a bunch of free tools that really make it easy. Doesn't mean that Eventbrite won't take the money from you, but guess what? It's lessening you trying to figure out how to do a PayPal link, how to connect it, all of that. So if I say to people, hey guys, I'm really thinking about doing a pay it forward. I've been struggling in the last month to find what really aligns with how I serve my people, and what has everyone been reaching out to me? Because I've been getting those, hey Rach, how do I boost my immune? Hey Rach, I'm not pooping. I'm having skin issues. I'm feeling tired. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling depressed. I have anxiety, a whole bunch. So let's pay it forward and do some family love. Bring a friend for free. That means $25 for you, $25 for your friend. That's $50. 30 people, it's 1,500. That's one program for the month. It's giving them the template. That's the program. You're the program though. You have to show them how to make it through this time. If you have content already, great, apply this. If you're struggling in a way to brainstorm this, come into our membership. If you don't feel that you need to do anything and you can't hire somebody, do the work. It's very simple. 50 times 30, 1,500. 50 times 50 people, 2,500. 97, if you felt that you could charge that, 2 for 1. And you got 20 people in, that's 1,940, and you just doubled your list. I guarantee you that people would continue if they got the value and the solution was solved. So if we say 97 and you get 30 people, that means 2 for 1. 2,910. Many people have asked me, because I've been saying 2 for 1 or pay it forward in the last few years, because that's how I built my business. We'll close really with this. It's called, you just say to people, hey, send me a personal message. Send them a PayPal. Send them a simple link. Square is also an app that you can have on your phone. You can send invoices. It's what I used to do when I did vendors, because I didn't want to pay for an e-commerce payment processing. There's no point. You can also do invoices in PayPal. You can keep things really, really simple. Many of you have things like Practice Better, Acuity, Desabo. You can do invoices. Keep this simple. This is not the time for complexity. And people don't want it anyway. And you say very simply in that invoice, hey, thanks for purchasing. Whoever is your friend, send me an email so I can send them the amazing materials. That can be Dropbox, Google Drive. I know we all get scared, but people can share. Guess what? They're going to share your stuff even if it's a membership because they download. If someone wants to steal, they're going to steal. That's happened to me. Happens to many other people. Happens to even Marie Forleo. Some of the same sites that have stolen from me have her entire course there as well. And many others. Amy Porterfield, Ryan Lee. Everyone knows that. Bushra. That's not my ideal client. I worried for many years. Just, we got to serve and we got to show up in simple ways. And I say this about Dropbox and Google Drive because guess what? Oh, those platforms didn't exist back in the day. We kept it that simple. We didn't sit in perfection. So with that being said, it's been a pleasure to be here with you guys. Seriously, I am so blessed that these crises, when I've gone through a hurricane, anything, and this is no different. This is a worldwide pandemic, but at the same time, it forces us to get really clear on what we have to let go of. And I had to let go of things where I was starting to get lost and had to come back to the basics of how I built my business, how I built it on free tools, how I built it on a crappy website, crappy looking materials, even my own programs. I didn't know how to edit Word, but I did it. And I coached and I listened and I spent more time doing that and more time showing up, what led me. Every summit that I was asked to be on is because they would say, wow, everywhere we see you talking gut, can you be on my summit? Can you be on my detox summit? Can you come to Arizona to teach a raw food class? I couldn't go that year because my autoimmune kicked my butt and I was really sick and I had to say no. Hey, can you come teach at the Raw Food Institute? It's only because I consistently taught about that. Hey, can you come and teach for the doctors in Fort Lauderdale for credits on food and mood? Because I talked about it. Can you come and teach at Hippocrates about business? Because I talked about how I built my business. Opportunities come to us because we do the work and we show up. It's not because we have the perfect website. It's not because we have the perfect logo. That's BS. It's not because we have the perfect editing for our whatever. Truth is, I didn't start editing videos until I started doing a podcast. And I hired somebody because it's not my zone of genius. Why should I spend 3 hours doing that? It's a waste of time. So thank you for being on this call. Thank you for listening wherever you're seeing this. YouTube, my site at rachelafeldman.com. I encourage you to keep it simple. I hope that you keep it simple. I'm giving you the permission that was given to me by the best of my coaches. And the one who said to me, when I would have I don't know if I should do this. It was Anne Samiloff, my first launch coach. And she always said, Rachel, you know already what to do in your gut. It's just like you need permission. Because I would say, Anne, should I do this? Should I do that? And she would say, the only thing you need to commit to is to do and to keep to your dates, to keep to your commitment, to learn from your mistakes, to learn from your failures, and to never quit. She was also on Marie Forleo's early launches, and she's helped many, many people launch. She's also always kept it simple because it can be simple. So I'm giving you permission. Keep it simple. You can let go. And if you don't want to, it's okay. Find the people, find what you need, and implement it. Don't wait for perfection. I will see you guys on the flip side. Make sure to go over to my podcast, Healthy Hustle. The Healthy Hustle podcast, you can find us on iTunes. You can go to my site, rachelafeldman.com. If you're struggling and you need content from us, anything, let us know. We're here to help you. You want to join our membership, get some community, we're here for you. And if you just want to be in here because you can't do any of that, we're here as well. So with that being said, peace out, homies. I will see you on the flip side. Keep it real, keep it simple, and let's really talk about what it takes to build a business behind the scenes. Not just what you see, not just the pretty package and the posts and all that stuff that you see that looks so fine-tuned. Let's talk about what it took from the get-go and how I can truly help you. I'll see you guys. I love you. I can take you from solo entrepreneur to keeping it really pretty and tight. But at the end of the day, simple always wins the race. Peace out.